Thanks so much for being with us here on another edition of Austin Fit Talks. Our guest this week is Chance Henderson. I think this is a really interesting conversation. We had a chance to talk with Chance, first of all, about the upcoming Hunter 5K, which is in memory of his son, Hunter, a really special event coming up on Halloween this year. And we also had a chance to talk with him about his experience as a Navy SEAL, what type of physical conditioning goes into that, and now currently as a member of the APD SWAT team. So here's my conversation with Chance Henderson.
This is year two we're doing this. Did it last year, had a huge turnout, awesome turnout. It was our inaugural race. So it was a big deal for us getting it going. This year it'll be virtual because of the whole COVID issue going on. So it's basically going to be a virtual race. So basically you sign on, register, get your shirt, and then race on the day of the event until November 15th. Anytime in there you can race and register your times, and it'll be loaded and good to go from there. And it's one of those events that hopefully it's going to grow more than last year. That's kind of our goal. We've had a lot of more team players help us out to get it pushed out there. Hired some pros on. Last year it was me and a bunch of the moms on the street kind of coordinating a lot of it, most of it. So this year will be a little bit more organized and hopefully more effective to raise. Last year we raised money for the Cups for Charity. This year we'll be raising money for Dell Children's Hospital, because that's where Hunter was when the accident happened. And the race itself is dedicated in his name for him. I remember it's of Hunter, my son. And I chose a 5K race because he was one of those, like most kids his age, he was very active. More so than me and his mom, very active, always loved everything from soccer, running, swimming, you name it. He was a good climber, natural athlete, unlike myself. So to pick an event that was kind of, I guess, athletic event, a race is what he loved, because he was very competitive, more than he should have been competitive. So having a race was, I thought, was an easy answer to what we can do to remember him. So yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that's really neat about this is, there's a lot of events that are held for different causes, but what I love about what you guys have created is you've created an event that not only honors Hunter, but really, from what I've been told, kind of created in his spirit, and right down to, being on Halloween and the costumes and the tiger. Talk a little bit about how this race really does kind of embody who he was.
He wore costumes year round just because he wanted to do something different. We must have bought him like 4 costumes every year. He'd pick one and change it out. So he wore from Batman to Transformers to Stormtroopers. Every week he'd do something different to wear. He's a big love wearing costumes. And so for us, and this fell on Halloween, so it was naturally the best time to do it and make it a Halloween fun run race and costume. He's definitely would have loved that. So it's one of those things that kind of made sense to us. A kid who always loves to be in costume, and he's a runner, racer, and competitive, to make it a Halloween race. And the tiger theme came out because his favorite animal was a tiger, and he always loved to roar. Not always at the best time. Sometime in the middle of something that shouldn't be roaring at, but either a quiet family gathering or in the back of a car. But he was always like to be heard. So that was naturally his. I guess that's his spirit animal. So that became our theme for the race, was a tiger.
That's great. I love it. Have you do you have your costume picked out for this year? Do you know?
I'm still debating. That I'm trying to work with my daughter to do something funny, but she always has an idea of a princess. So whatever she wants to do, I'll try and bounce off of that. So whether it's a ninja family or whatever she wants to do, I'll bounce off of her. I'm easy. She's not. So
Sure. No, that's a good dad. That's awesome. From what I was told, last year's race was, given the fact that it was the first one, and like you said, you're just organizing with people in the community, it was a huge success. How special was it to see your community and your friends and everybody come together and make the first one such a success?
That was huge. Having everyone there that we knew and people that we even didn't know was awesome. Everyone showed up, and then a lot of my family and friends were there, as well as all my cop family was there. Everyone who was in, all the SWAT guys were all there. All the cops working on the barricades and the roads, they were also friends of mine. All the cops that I knew. So everyone that was there, pretty much, I had a tie to in some way or another. It was nice to have that support. The knowing it was there was huge. For us, after Hunter passed, our family and friends, neighbors, and my coworkers at work were a huge asset. Having them there to support us was was huge. And it was nice to have that. Without them, it would have been a much harder road than it already was. So, and seeing them out there at the race on race day was a lot. It was more than I could ask for. So it was great.
To be able to, I'm sure obviously this year, as you said, you brought in some pros, but just the opportunity to grow it and make it bigger and
Yeah.
better. Is that just kind of the vision this year? Just keep adding more and making this bigger and better
Yeah,
every year?
for sure. I would have probably gone small, but Mr. Paul Carosi, he was all about no. Let's get it going big. I want it big. I want it to be the Halloween race. I'm like, okay. He has experience with the marathon and other big events, so I didn't fight him on it. Like, all right, you want let's go big. So we brought in some people that specialize in certain areas, have them help us out with everything from registration to getting the word out to you name it, all the technical aspects and the IT's part. That was all covered. Last year it was kind of me trying to do it on my own as long as I could until the moms were like, no, goofball, let's help you out here. Oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah,
Easy to help. So it was good to have that. So this year will be good. And next year, hopefully, it'll happen again. It'll be in person. It'll be even bigger. So
for
that's the
sure.
goal.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, if anybody knows running in Austin, it's Paul. So that's the
exactly,
right guy to have helping
exactly.
you.
He
But I
is
think
very
that's smart
connected.
though. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. And I mean, there is kind of we've got a lot of races here, but to have something that's we've got something for Christmas time with the trail of lights and all
yeah,
that, but to have a Halloween event, I think
right.
is perfect. So
Yeah,
this is really smart.
yeah. It's kind of the neighborhood is all for it. No one really is against it. Everyone loves the idea of it, and we have an actual nice little 5K course I had set up here. Plenty of hills, so it's good. And then if it gets too big one day, maybe we'll move somewhere else. But for now, we're here in the neighborhood down in Circle C in Navanya. So right now it works out pretty well for us. So
And you mentioned Dell Children's. I know they were there for your family at a difficult time.
huge,
Why is it
yeah.
important to benefit them, and why did you choose them as the beneficiary this year?
Uh, Again, because Hunter he was there and they helped us and helped with him so much. So made it easier for him and for us and part of the worst parts of our lives. They were there more than I thought they would be as a hospital entity. And to be able to support them and what they do for kids like Hunter is huge. Every year, the SWAT team does a Heroes Day where they dress up in costumes and rappel down the building
Hmm.
at the hospital there, and I'll be a part of that as well. So that's kind of nice to kind of have a double tap on that, and to give back to them in some way is huge for us. So yeah, it's going to be a benefit for them, and to have them tied to us is as a sponsor and a benefit is huge.
Yeah, really, really special what they do there. Obviously, wanted to talk to you about the event, but part of our goal on Austin Fit Talks is to kind of learn about different people's fitness journeys and what they've been through. And,
Right.
and I think yours is particularly interesting. You were, for those that don't know, you're currently an Austin SWAT officer with APD, but prior to this, you were a Navy SEAL. If we can go back to that, what is it like? We've all heard stories, of course, of what it takes to be a Navy SEAL, but what do you do
Right.
fitness wise to prepare yourself when you're thinking, I think I want to be a Navy SEAL and I'm going to go for this? How do you train and what does that involve?
How did I train, or how should you train? How I trained was incorrect. But
Well, how about
I was
both? I'd be
21.
curious to hear what you did wrong.
Okay. Well, when I ignore the advice of people that knew better than me. It's like, no, I'm cool. I'm 22. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get huge. I'm gonna get swole and go in there, 200 pounds and be a beast. And I learned that was a bad idea quickly on. Trying to run those speeds and do the obstacle course and swim, carrying all the weight around was not a good idea. So ideally, what you do is you work hard and you work on your calisthenics and your speed and your endurance, not the power movements is what I did. And most of going in through to buds, it's more mental than physical. It sounds like a cliche, but really having your head on right and having that mindset of I can't quit is huge. We had guys there that were phenomenal. It's amazing. I had runners, swimmers, you name it, who were guys who were just in sick shape who quit like day one, day two. So
Hmm.
if you don't have that your head on and what you want to do and why you're there, doesn't matter how fit you are, you're not going to pull through. That's one of the things you learn early on. So
Isn't it some statistic along the lines of like 80 or 90% don't make it through buds?
yeah, somewhere in there. My class began with 170 guys and graduated with I'm gonna say 13 originals somewhere in there or 16
Wow.
originals. Yeah, most of our class either wiped out, washed out, or quit, or got rolled back. So yeah, it was. And guys you wouldn't have thought would quit. Guys you thought would made it. So it's just, and it's the guys who are the strong-willed guys who are could think fast on their feet and can endure that pain and can push through it are the ones who usually make it and make good SEALs, make good leaders, even outside of the teams. So,
were you an athlete prior to going into
yeah,
SEALs?
I've played sports my whole life, from swimming, soccer, tennis, wrestling, and then in high school, same deal. And then when I got out, I just kind of carried it on. And now that I'm out, I've kept it up, doing whatever I can, either working out in the house or getting involved in sports, getting involved in APD, which is a job that you have to be physically fit, being able to run and endure those long hours on heavy gear is a huge asset. So being in shape for that makes the job that much easier.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you've got the setup behind you to prove it, obviously.
Yeah. This is my little Gucci set up here. This is all I put in the accent wall because I was something different for me, because I had time, all the code stuff. So put in some track record, a buddy of mine, put in the TV, and it's a little silly, but it's fun. So
no, it looks good. So when you were in Buds, this is probably an obvious question. The answer is probably yes, but was there a moment or two for you where you're like, I don't know, man, I don't know if I can do this, and you're thinking you might have to tap out, or did you feel like you could make it the entire time?
No, honestly, there wasn't. For me, I kind of kept my field of view short and small. So the idea was attack each event one day at a time, one step at a time. Don't look too far out. You're trying to look at, I got to do this for the next 6-7 months. You're gonna go crazy, and I'm probably gonna quit. If you just focus on each day, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one small chunk, it's more manageable that way, and your brain won't get overwhelmed with, oh man, this is gonna be impossible. But having that mindset that support the guys next to you, left and right of you, and they'll take care of you. That's kind of where that begins. That seed grows from there. Once you're out operating as a Navy SEAL, having that brotherhood mentality is huge, and keeps us alive and keeps mission on track.
Physically, what was the most challenging part for you?
Well, by far, just having to endure the cold water. It starts to grind you down. It's not physically painful, no, for the most part, but it's mentally. It's are you able to get in that cold ocean water at 3 a.m. when you're already exhausted and freezing cold? Are you able to get back in there and do what you need to do? And it's one of those things where you have to be able to focus and get through it. And being fit, physically fit, helps to a degree, but not in that aspect. It just comes down to how bad do you want it.
I'm curious because I think, look, most of us are never, ever going to be able to do what you did to become a Navy SEAL, but everybody, their fitness journeys are individual, whether it's they want to be able to finish a marathon or they want to be able to finish a 5K even. I'm curious, what can you tell people about what you're getting at, that mental piece? Like, how do you, whatever your goal is, how do you convince yourself mentally, you can accomplish this?
For me, a lot of it comes down to not having a plan B, not having a backup, not having a fallback. If this doesn't work out, there's always this. If you don't have a plan B, then there is no option for quitting for me. I've used that in Buds and then school and wherever I'm at, having that there's no second option. There's no avenue to quit, then you won't quit. So being able to streamline that and push ahead, knowing that this is why I'm here, this is what I'm doing, and there's no fallback plan. Because once you start getting tired or doubting yourself, that little plan B becomes, you have the seed becomes a smaller, bigger and bigger tree, and now plan B becomes, oh, let's go plan B, forget it. So if you don't even entertain the idea of a fallback option, they won't be there. Which makes training for each event, no matter what it is, a marathon or whatever, makes it more doable, more approachable that way at least.
No, I think that's smart. I hadn't thought of that, but because even to use the marathon example, if you're running a marathon, I think there's always those moments where you're thinking, I'm just going to walk for 30 seconds or whatever it may be. But I guess if you convince yourself that that's just not an option, maybe it helps you to power through.
Right. I did my first marathon in college. Didn't train for it at all. A friend of mine, she trained for it readily. I did not. I thought, oh, I do 10Ks, this will be fine. That's a mile 18, 19, and my feet were killing me. I had to figure it out. I had to keep going, but the desire to quit was really strong. But of course, there was no plan B, and then having her heckling me the whole time helped out too.
Yeah, there's like a pride factor, right?
Oh, huge, huge pride factor. My whole life, ego has been a blessing and a curse my whole life. So
Yeah,
even at
totally.
42.
So, once you get through buds and you become a SEAL, obviously there's all sorts of training you guys are doing, but physically, what kind of, just general day-to-day physical training is involved in that?
What I'm in buds, you mean?
No, I'm sorry. Once you're done with buds and you're actually, you've become a SEAL and you've made it through buds, when you guys are just in your normal lives, so to speak,
Yeah,
what sort of
a lot of
maintenance
that
is there?
a lot of that is on you. They do a minimal amount of team training when you're back home at your base, but for the most part, what you do is on you, and that's up to you to keep it up and maintain that level of fitness. From swimming, running to weights, it's up to you because the idea is that once you're out there in the real world on an operation, it's assumed you have that fitness background. It's assumed you're already in shape. You're not going to go in there and have problems with your stamina or your endurance or your strength. It's going to be there, and everyone assumes that, as they should.
Sure. So now, as I mentioned today, you're APD, you're a SWAT officer. We can obviously see the weights behind you. How does fitness factor into your life now, and what's your kind of daily routine and everything?
It factors in every day pretty heavily. It's a big part of what I do, what we do as a team at APD, and especially within SWAT. Every guy there has their own program they're on, and we always do team PTs as often as possible, whether that's swimming in the quarry to doing team runs, team lifts. It's a big part of our lifestyle within SWAT and also within APD. And what I do every day, I like to keep it a wide variety of things, from running, swimming, cycling, to good old weights. I like to add in, Metcons, like to add in the imams, CrossFit-ish type stuff, so it's applicable to what I do. So it's not just, because it's easy to be on the spectrum, either on the far right where you're just an endurance guy with no power, or you're a power guy with no real endurance. Staying in that middle of that spectrum is huge. It's harder to do for me, but it's something that has benefited me most of my life. Not being the strongest guy or the fastest guy, but the guys in the middle who can kind of do both a little bit. So
was it a natural transition from being a SEAL to go into SWAT? Is that
it really kind of was, in the sense that it's that team camaraderie, which is huge in the teams, and also within SWAT. Knowing that the guy next to you has your back, and they're working with a team of guys who are highly trained and professionals, makes the job easier. It makes the job worth it. And I joined APD to be on the SWAT team. That was my main goal.
how much competition is there within the team when it comes to the physical stuff? Do you guys?
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
There's guys in the team. Everyone has their own strength, and everyone's competing all the time. It's a natural thing to do, and it brings out the best in each one of us. Having that guy next to you that's stronger than you, faster than you, and you got to catch him. That's a huge part of it, and that makes it worthwhile.
We like to ask our guests this, but if you got one workout to do, whatever it may be, what's your go-to workout or your favorite workout, or what's number one on your list if you got a workout to do?
Honestly, I've always liked the Murph. I've always enjoyed that.
Sure.
I've done that for probably 6-7 years now, or for a while now, and that's one I like to, because it's just it's a community workout with your friends and with people around you, and it's a big team. Even though you're on your own, it's a team event, which sounds silly, but it's kind of how it is. And I've been doing it since, I guess 13, 14, somewhere like that is when I started doing it initially. And every year it's gotten more and more fun. I bring in neighbors and friends and family to do it with me all the time.
Awesome.
And that's one that I always look forward to the most.
He was a SEAL, right?
He was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for people that aren't familiar, just give them the rundown of the Murph, what all the workout entails.
Well, he was lieutenant back in, I think it was on team 3 or team 5. I can't remember exactly. But he was a SEAL. He used to do the workout himself on the beach in Coronado, I believe. And the work he would do was he would run 1 mile and then come back and hit the gym and do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 squats. And he would do that, and then he would do 1 mile to cap it off at the end. And he would do it with body armor on, body armor. So that's what we do. Most of us do with throwing a plate carrier and do the mile run, your pull-ups, push-ups, and squats, and then do mile run at the end. So my goal's always been
with
to
the
get
weights
under,
on.
Yeah, my goal's always been to get under half an hour. That's always my goal. But everyone's different. The pros can do it faster than that for sure. But it's always been one that I look forward to every year, every Memorial Day. It's kind of a fun run to do.
That's crazy. I know some people do it obviously without the weights, but do you have you figured out a system, like the best way to do it? Like, do you bang out all the pull-ups at once, or do you split it up?
That's how you get hurt.
That's crazy, right?
You can do it. It's just it takes a long time and you can get injured. That's for me. For me, I like to do. I'll do the run, come back, and I like to do 20 sets of 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 squats.
Okay.
I'll do that.
So you really break it up.
Oh yeah. That way, yeah. I've done before 10 sets. I found 20 is the most effective for me to maintain and to kind of keep my stamina without crashing out.
And then you just roll from one to the next?
Pretty much, with little rest as possible, yeah.
How brutal is the mile run at the end?
It's brutal. Your legs are tired, your arms are tired, yeah. So then that weight vest gets heavier and heavier every year. So it's kind of fun.
I know CrossFit's helped make them huge, but that's got to be pretty awesome to see how this has become I know is it Memorial Day? I think people do it. I mean, it's a huge thing.
It is. It's huge. It started off small, I think only within the community. Then it got bigger and bigger, and then it just kind of branched out, and it's gotten big. Now it seems like it's a nationwide thing every year. Just each gym holds their own. People hold it like in the garages and stuff, so it becomes a community event. And every year I brought on people more and more to do with me. People that don't want to do it, I brought them on, and they love it. So, has
your wife done it with you?
She has.
Wow.
Didn't like it, but she did. She did.
Hey, she tried it.
She did. She did try it, and also my brother too. So they both did it.
Awesome. Well, Chance, this has been really fun. I appreciate you making some time for us, and I want to go back. Obviously, okay. So the 105K, since it's virtual this year, we got a couple of weeks, right, that people can do it. Yeah,
the race is going to begin officially on Halloween Day, October 31st. It's going to run until November 15th. That'll be where you can run those time periods. You can run your time in and submit it within those 2 weeks, and then get your shirt. And if you
shirts are cool. I've seen the shirts.
Yeah, it was kind of we went the green this year, so it'll be kind of fun to see how it goes.
And so even if you're doing it on your own, even if everybody's not together, still encourage people to get the costumes on, right?
Oh, yeah.
And have fun while you're out there.
For sure, yeah. I'm going to have mine on, so whatever that's going to be, I don't know, but something.
Yeah, so. Once your daughter lets you know, you'll be
exactly. Probably awesome. A princess again, and that's okay.
Good. Chance, thanks, man. I really appreciate this. This was
no
fun.
Problem.
I enjoyed chatting with you. Okay.
Thanks.
If you missed any of our Austin Fit Talks, you can catch them all on the Austin Fit Magazine website, austinfitmagazine.com.